It's time. Just a Guy with a Beer with Scott Fryer is on your radio, your device, your tablet, your everywhere. Sit back and let Scott take you down the rabbit hole of beerdom.
Know your role and shut your mouth because the people's champ is ready to talk.
Here's Scott Fryer.
Hey everybody, welcome to Just a Guy with a Beer, episode number 27. That's right, 27. I can't believe it's been 6 months since I've been doing this. It doesn't even feel like I'm even doing a job. This is like the greatest thing ever. I get to drink beer and I get to talk to awesome people. Like tonight, I'm here with Shawn and Kyle Grove from Plankowner Brewing in Boiling Springs, South Carolina.
Hey, Scott.
Welcome to the program, guys. I appreciate you coming on. I know Monday is kind of like your day of rest for the brewing community, but I appreciate you guys taking an hour out of your day or evening at least to come on and talk to us about all the great things you guys are doing down there at Plankowner.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be on the show. And just, man, I got to tell you, it's been great watching the show grow the last 6 months, the first podcast to this one. So just happy to be part of it.
Yeah, it's growing every week, and I have awesome guests like you guys coming on every single week talking about beer and talking about the beer community, especially in the smaller craft beer community, especially now in these times, we call it the COVID times, when things are a little bit difficult now. I don't know what your situation is like down there in Boiling Springs, South Carolina, but up here in the Democratic-run state, the People's Republic of Connecticut, we call it, things are a little different. Like I can go to Epicure because we are live at the Epicure Brewing studio right now. I can go to Epicure, which is one of my favorites, and I have to have food in front of me or I cannot order a beer.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I'm assuming that it's not that militant down there in South Carolina.
No, we're a little more relaxed at the moment. The current order is you're supposed to have a face covering on when you walk into establishment, but as soon as you order a beer, food, you're seated at your table, you can remove the face covering.
Right. We had the same thing here, but you can't. They can't legally. They cannot serve you a beer here until you order food. Like you have to have your order put in. Some places won't even give it to you until your food's in front of you, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, no, you can come in here, just have a couple of beers, relax, head out. There's no requirement for food at all.
And a lot of the brewers are trying to fight it because many places, like Epicure Brewing, are not built for food. Like they have food trucks that come on the Fridays or the weekends when they're open, and that's their source of food for people to come. And they have menus where you can order food. But places like these guys brewing, which has a restaurant in, it still kind of sucks because you lose those people that just want to come in and have a beer. But it makes it a little bit easier because they have a full kitchen and a full cooking staff. So, but people are doing, they're doing what they got to do to make it work. And hopefully all this stuff will be over soon and we can get back to normal. We'll get into a little bit more of that later on in the show. But again, welcome to the show, guys. Shawn and Kyle from Plankowner Brewing. Kyle, you're the head brewer. Shawn, you're a brewer, right? You're not just the owner. You also do the brewing, correct?
Yeah, I do all of the brewing here. Recipe creation is kind of a tag team effort, collab. Shawn has his recipes that he brought from his home brew side, and I have mine. And then most of the other recipes on the wall are, hey, I want to do this. I made this recipe to take a look at it. And he's like, hey, let's switch out these hops or let's add this or that. And it's kind of it's a team effort for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll do the same thing. I'll come up with an idea like, hey, here's an idea for like a golden ale I want to do. What do you think? And he's like, well, what about this? Let's just take a little less of this malt, put some more of that in there. So we do the same thing, right? So there's recipes that are his or mine, but when it comes to what's on this tap wall, it's totally a collaboration. It's team effort. Everything here.
And it's great. I think that's awesome that you guys will collaborate and share your recipes because that makes, teamwork makes the dream work, right? Everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We make each other better. And
that's absolutely.
As we'll get into, like we're almost 2 years old and we've done 37 different beers so far.
That's awesome.
we don't have a particular style that we focus on. We just like to make good beer.
Now you mentioned 2 years. You guys opened in April of 2019, so
That's
you had
right.
a little bit of time before the coronavirus kind of hit the country. So you had like a full summer, and I'm sure you guys did very well down there in South Carolina, especially where you're at. Now, how close are you guys to Columbia?
We're about an hour and a half to Columbia.
Okay.
3 hours down in Charleston. We're an hour from Charlotte, hour from Asheville. So.
Okay, so how about Clemson? You guys close to there at all?
We're 45 minutes to an hour to Clemson.
It's not bad. Okay, so you guys are pretty close. So you're kind of like fringe college town. So I'm sure you get some of the kids out there coming in and having some of your beers. That's good. And so now before you brought Plank over to Boiling Springs, you were involved in another brewery in Florida, correct?
That's correct.
That's right.
So what did you do? Did you work there too, Kyle? Did you work at Devour?
So that's Devour Brewing Company in Boynton Beach in South Florida. That's where I got my brewing start, really. I started there as a bartender, and the owner eventually brought me into the production side and taught me how to brew beer. And then very quickly I took over his head brewing operation. So
Nice.
Where I got all my schooling was at Devour Brewing Company.
Right, and that's the best place to learn, right? Because you're learning from the people that are doing it every day. A lot of people, they learn on the fly. Like they start home brewing, and then next thing you know, I can do this on a bigger scale, and they find out how difficult it really is.
So I mean, I definitely had some home brewing experience beforehand, but the guy who owned that brewery was a mastermind in the brewing. So I got to learn from a really great teacher. So It was a really lucky start for me in the brewing community.
Awesome, and Shawn, what did you do there at Devour?
Yeah, so at the time I still had my corporate job, and I had an opportunity to come in initially as an investor and then kind of get more on the operations side, kind of helping with, just ways to make the brewery run a little more efficient, the day-to-day. And it was a great opportunity for me to come in and learn the industry, learn how brewery operations worked. I knew my goal one day was to own my own brewery. So it was a great chance to kind of get in at the ground. And like Kyle, I've been home brewing. I kind of wanted to make a go at it like anybody else. It's like, hey, I can make, drinkable beer at home. Surely I can open a brewery. And
Right. Yeah, piece of cake, right? Snap your fingers, you're good.
Anybody can do this.
Right.
So, Kyle and I, got to know each other there at Devour. We did some homebrew competitions behind the scenes together, brewing some stuff, as well as, working together at Devour. Like you said, Chip was a great brewer. He was kind of that brewer that the local brewers would come to when there was a problem, like, hey, what's this off flavor? What happened here? And so we had a chance to kind of learn from him a lot. And then, ultimately, a couple of years ago, moved up here to South Carolina to get this venture going, and here we are.
Now, is Devour Brewing still in operation down there in Florida?
Unfortunately, they are not. So they were closed their doors at the beginning of this year. So
Tough. That's tough. Now, before all this, or did the COVID cause that?
it was pre-COVID.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, there was just a little bit of a struggle, just variety of reasons, but it wasn't for lack of making good beer. It was a lot of reasons, just on the business side, location, and unfortunately just didn't make it.
Yeah. Now, as far as your guys' location, you're located right off I-85, right?
Correct.
You're kind of like in a good spot there, so people can say, "Hey, I can stop this brewery right here," because that's how I roll. Like we go someplace, like for instance, Saturday, my wife made me. I willingly went to IKEA, which I never want to willingly go, but I had ulterior motives. I knew that 12% brewing project was only 6 miles away from IKEA, so I said, "Sure, let's go to IKEA." Because now, listen, I don't know if you've ever been to IKEA. They have IKEA down in South Carolina.
I'm sure they do.
Actually, isn't there? I think there's an IKEA over in Anderson.
Well, listen, if you have never been, obviously you haven't ever been. Don't go.
Oh, I have. We had them in South.
So it's a nightmare, right? It's not only did I not want to go there, they made me wait in line for like 20 minutes to get in there, and it is listen, January and
getting furniture, whatever, but it means more work for you because when you get home, you have to assemble the whole thing.
No, we didn't even buy any furniture. We bought like a cart for my daughter's, a book cart for my daughter's room, and that was it. We had like a couple of things. The things we went there for, they didn't have. We didn't have the chairs we were looking for. So I didn't have to put anything together, thankfully, because you have to you, even if you have an aerospace engineering degree, you still could not figure out how to put these things together from IKEA, because everything's written in like Swedish, right? And they give you pictures like you're supposed to know, like, okay, that doesn't even look like anything I even holding in my hands. So I did go because there is a great because it's surrounded actually by some pretty great breweries, but I only wanted to go to 12%. So it's right off the highway. So that you guys have a primo spot there, I'm sure. You get a lot of that highway traffic coming on in.
Yeah, so here in Spartanburg, you've got the local highway, Highway 9. It's the main north-south in and out of Spartanburg up into Boiling Springs, which is like the big, suburb here in the county.
Right.
We are literally at the intersection of Highway 9 and 85. And every single week we come in, we get people that are traveling from somewhere, Maryland, D.C., Charlotte, and they're just driving through and they just decided, hey, we're going to get to this area. They pull up their phone, pull up Google Maps, and type in brewery, right? And food, right there.
I do.
Oh, we got food. Let's go there.
Right.
So, yeah.
My wife's famous thing is, do we have to always? How come every place we go is centered around beer? Well, it's not. I mean, it's like a fringe. It's a fringe thing. Like we're going to go here, but I mean, since we're here, we might as well go there. So I'm already here. So I always have, the forethought to see what's ahead of me when we go places, but like we did the other day. So it's good to know, like, if we're traveling somewhere, I'm looking for on the highway. Hey, right on I-85, there's Plankowner Brewing. Let's go check it out.
Yeah, and in fact, it's kind of funny. We had I haven't seen them in a while since COVID actually, but we had one customer that lived in Charlotte, and then every other week he'd have to work in Atlanta. So during the weekend, like he would travel down to Atlanta. So when he left Charlotte, he would stop here. Came in one time, loved the beer, bought a bunch of growlers. Now every time he would go, he'd fill up literally like 5 or 6 growlers of beer.
Wow.
To Atlanta, go down there, and then.
That was weird. Did you guys hear that?
We did.
Yeah, my mom was actually trying to call me. Anyway, so I was going to say I looked at your website, and because you had mentioned he bought like 5 or 6 growlers. I saw you could buy 128 ounces. Now, how do you guys sell that?
A gallon at a time.
Okay, so you have like a gallon container. So you're not used to. You're seeing the 164 ounce.
You have one.
Oh yeah.
We actually pulled out. So,
nice.
We actually kind of pioneered that here for the upstate. It was kind of fun. So a lot of breweries will do either like the growlers, right, or the can 32 ounce. We decided we would do the growlers because it's a little more reusable. We're not just throwing away all that aluminum every single time. For the recycle aspect, we decided that the growlers made more sense for us personally. So we had 32 and 64 ounce growlers, pretty common.
Right. Crowler. Oh, not crowler. It's, what do they call it? The little growlers? I forget what they call them. Like the 64 is a growler, but.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, depending on where you're from, like from where we're from, anything in glass is a growler.
Right.
The can is a crowler. Right. So,
Yeah, the can's a crowler. So.
right.
Yeah.
So,
That's awesome. 128 ounces. That's awesome that you guys sell a gallon. That's great though. That's awesome. It's a bonus thing. You can get even more of the great beer. So awesome. All right. So listen, guys, we have to take a break. We're at the end of our first segment here. We're going to come back. We're going to talk a little bit about veteran-owned businesses and what you guys are all about as far as that goes. And I know you both served, and then we'll get into the beers because that's what we're here for with our veteran.
look forward to it.
All right. So again, you're listening and watching Just a Guy with a Beer, episode number 27 with Shawn and Kyle from Plankowner Brewing in Boiling Springs, South Carolina. Don't go away. We'll be right back with more Plankowner Brewing.
Just a Guy with a Beer with Scott Fryer. We'll be back in 2 and 2 belches. He needs a break to get rid of the gas. More of Just a Guy with a Beer coming up. If you're in the market for a used vehicle at a great price, head over to GNS Auto Sales in Franklin, Connecticut and take a look at their great selection. BMW, Audi, Dodge, Chevy, Ford, and so much more. And whether it's an oil change, brake repair, or the check engine light, let Pat, Wendy, and their team of professionals take care of all your automotive needs. That's GNS Auto Sales located in Franklin, Connecticut. Give them a call at 860-383-0050 or find them on the web at www.gnsautosales.llc.com.
Have you got a taste for exquisitely crafted beer and pub grub with a foodie flair? Then These Guys Brewing Company on Franklin Street in Norwich, Connecticut has got what you're craving. Enjoy a variety of classic and unique craft beers brewed on site and indulge in a delicious meal with seasonal dishes from your scratch kitchen. And check them out on Facebook or online at theseguysbrewing.com to stay up to date with their freshest brews, current menu, and upcoming events. These Guys Brewing Company, where it's all about good times, great food, and fantastic craft beer.
The Ideal Skate Shop on 175 Central Avenue in Norwich, Connecticut is more than just your average skate shop. They offer an amazing selection of one-of-a-kind, hard-to-find vans you won't find anywhere else. Into disc golf? Well, come on in and check out their amazing stock of top-line discs. And in addition to custom skate decks, accessories, and parts, they carry local handmade merchandise from small businesses. That's the Ideal Skate Shop, 175 Central Avenue, Norwich, Connecticut. Give them a call at 860-334-5277 or on Facebook and Instagram at Ideal Skate Shop, Norwich. Killfoot Clothing is the first 100% veteran sales team owned by two local Connecticut combat wounded veterans. Every garment is designed, printed, sold, handled, and shipped only by veterans. We source our products 100% made in the USA and believe if you have a flag on your shirt, that shirt should be made in the United States, period. Killfoot Clothing Company. American made, American proud.
All right. We're done with commercials for now. Now, more with Scott Fryer and Just a Guy with a Beer. Hey, he's back!
All right, everybody, welcome back to Just a Guy with a Beer, episode number 27. You're live with Shawn and Kyle from Plankowner Brewing in Boiling Springs, South Carolina. Shawn and I met through a mutual friend, and in fact, just as I say so, Seth pops up in the comment section and says,
Oh, there he is.
Seth. So there you go. Seth Wolf, you reached out to me, and Seth was looking for a job down there, and you said, what's up with this kid, man? Is he good? And I gave him a glowing review.
You lied to me. You said
against my better judgment, I gave him a glowing review, and I'm glad that it worked out. And unfortunately, he's not with you anymore. He had some family stuff, but I'm glad that he got a chance to work there, and I'm glad that you had a chance to meet him because Seth's an awesome kid. And I say kid, he's a grown man now. I feel like I'm like the grandfather now.
So
it was a little rough.
Speaking of that last little puppy that we said that we lost, he shows up from time to time. How's it going?
Live free or die. You're even wearing the New Hampshire. Oh man, you just made my whole night, kid. Thank you so much. Yes. Yeah. And listen, it's another torpedoman chief. So speaking of, I'm going to segue right to this, guys. I have some pretty awesome people that I met online. Ben and Gina from Carolina Anchors. And I just ran across them randomly on Facebook. The algorithms, they send you things that you look at anyway. So it was an ad, and it was a pretty cool design that they had on a Chiefs shirt, which I'm wearing right now. You can see it. The Chiefs watch. It's kind of like a little play on the what is the Game of Thrones, right? Yeah. So the Night Watch, but it's the Chiefs watch. And I got to know them. I bought some stuff from them. I gave them some suggestions, and they're really super cool. And we've kind of formed a mini online friendship here. And they sent me some cool stuff, so I'm going to give something away from them. Okay, so if you're watching right now, and this is only for my brothers and sisters in the Groton Chief Petty Officer area, so I can deliver it to you. I can bring this to you because outside the area, I have a little bit of trouble mailing stuff out. So if you're here, I'll bring it to you. So what I'm going to do is give this away. This is it's an extra XXX fat kid size. It's a Navy Chief hoodie, and it's got the Carolina Anchors logo on one side and the American flag logo on the other side. It doesn't have anything on the back. It's just got the USN. Very classy, very simple. It's a double XL. So if you are in the Groton area, you can hear my voice. If you can tell me what day I got my anchors pinned on, this hoodie is yours, and I will personally deliver it to you with a beer as well. So thank you, Carolina Anchors, for that. I appreciate that.
You're not driving it.
All right, so let's get back down to where we're talking. We're talking with Shawn and Kyle from Plankowner Brewing down in South Carolina, and that was awesome. Thanks, Seth, for coming on for a second. That was awesome to see your face, man. I'm glad everything's well, and I'm glad you're there, and you're actually paying attention. You're the best. So I know some of our New Hampshire brothers sometimes watch, so if they get to see this eventually, that'll be good for them to see. So now we talked about veteran-owned businesses. It's again one of the things I love about the show is I have a great network. Whether it's military guys, veterans, especially the veteran-owned businesses and the breweries. I love supporting veteran-owned businesses. Half the people that sponsor me are veterans, and it's great. Shawn, I know you served in the Navy. You served 4 years, correct?
Correct.
And Kyle, you served in the Louisiana National Guard, and you were a second lieutenant, correct?
I was a first lieutenant, and then I reverted and went to a warrant officer slot.
Okay.
To go to flight school. So yeah.
Awesome. Now, Shawn, you served on surface ships, right? You were a target.
Surface ships, yes.
You're a surface ship. Okay. So what did you do on the surface ship? What did you do?
Well, we hunted submarines, actually. So I was an electrician. So
okay. All right. So yeah, wire biter.
Change light bulbs. So.
Yes. All right. Well, that's what they do. They change my starter in my rack light. Yeah, that's what they do. Awesome. So you served 4 years. And then what ship did you serve on?
I was on a Ticonderoga class cruiser called the USS Cowpens.
Awesome. Okay. So you were that was the second of the second Cowpens, correct? There was a World War II Cowpens. Yeah.
The cruisers, but the second Cowpens, yes. Okay. The original was CVL 25 in World War II.
Awesome. And then Kyle, you said you what did you do before you went warrant? What did you do in the National Guard?
So I was a transportation officer. So I was the XO for a fuel and maintenance company for an aviation battalion.
Awesome. That's great. And then you went warrant, and then because warrant officers fly helicopters in the Army.
Yeah. Correct? So I dropped my warrant officer packet. That was the whole reason to getting into the military was to fly helicopters. So I ended up dropping a warrant officer packet. Went to flight school. Unfortunately, I hurt my back while I was in flight school, so I ended up getting out right after that. But it was a good time.
Well, again, thank you guys for your service. I appreciate you. No matter if you served a year, 2 years, 5 years, 6 years, whatever, you guys answered the call, man, and I appreciate you and thank you for your service.
Yeah, well, likewise. Thank you for yours. So,
and again, the veteran-owned businesses. I love that you guys are veteran-owned business. It's one of my favorite things to do is plug veteran-owned small businesses, and you guys are doing really well. So, so I have to ask, why Boiling Springs, South Carolina? Why?
So he still questions me every day, but the short answer to that is, so it's the Cowpens connection. So living in South Florida has just grown up so much. It's just become a rat race. It's overpopulated. Miami's overrun Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale's overtaken West Palm. It's just wall-to-wall people from the swamp to the beach. Cost of living increases every single year. And I just kind of had enough of it. I decided, you know what, it's time to, my days with, IT corporate companies are numbered. It's time for me to go somewhere else and go enjoy the second half of life. And, where's that going to be? And I traveled all over, and in my travels, one of the places that I kept coming to for years, ironically, was here in Spartanburg, South Carolina, because of the town of Cowpens. So anybody listening to this is be like, Cowpens, what? Never heard of it. And I was the same way, right? So some young kid getting assigned to a ship in the Navy, like, you're getting assigned to the USS Cowpens as a pre-com, and I'm like, what? Who? Cal what? Cal who? Who the hell names a ship Cowpens? Like, that just,
what does that even mean?
Right. What were they thinking? Like, it was an important battle. It's nice, but seriously, did I think about the name? Fast forward a bunch of years. 7 years ago, thanks to social media, one of the few good things out of it is I got to reconnect with a lot of my old Navy buddies, other Plankowners on USS Cowpens. And for those who don't know, Plankowner is somebody who was part of the original crew of a brand new ship or vessel at the time of commissioning. It goes back hundreds of years. It's Navy, history, heritage. And to date, naming the brewery has been probably the hardest thing we've had to do. Ironically, and we're not going to go through the whole list. We don't have enough time, but Plankowner Brewing is number 43 on my list of possible names for naming a brewery. When you go through a list of names that just like, we need something that we can protect, that it's going to pass the trademark office.
Right.
You want Billy Bob's Brewing, it's taken.
Right.
Anything you could possibly think of has been taken. They lump wineries, distilleries, breweries in the same group. And then you figure the big guys, the big breweries, right? They've got trademark not only on their name, but on their core products. And then you've got distilleries and all their products and wineries. And you end up with like 47,000 protected names.
Wow.
So naming the brewery has been very difficult. So coming up here to the Spartanburg area, I just kind of fell in love with the upstate. The people were great. Outside of catching up with my old Navy buddies, once a year, just decided, I really like it here. There's some amazing people. I love the upstate. It's been great. So I decided, I'm leaving South Florida and I'm coming to South Carolina.
I love it there. I loved. I lived there for 3.5 years.
Yeah,
I was stationed in Charleston on my first ship. I was on the
Charleston. So
yeah, and listen. I hated it when I moved there. I'm from New Jersey, and everything in New Jersey is let's go. I want to get it done now. That's how I grew up. I didn't know anything else.
We'll get to it.
Yeah, but when you get down to South Carolina, I was there a week, and I'm like, Mom, I hate it down here. People are retards. They're so slow. Like, what is wrong with these people? They don't. I mean, I go to McDonald's, and I'm like, seriously, what is the deal? These people are all like hayseeds down here. It's terrible.
Yeah, but you know what? It's an amazing community. You know what? I enjoy the slower pace.
Yeah.
There's just nothing but great people.
It's the whole state is. I mean, I had friends that went to college at USC, and I would go out to USC and go to frat parties and go to football games. I went to a couple of Clemson football games, and it was that whole. I mean, if I could go someplace, South Carolina is third on my list of places I want to live when my kids are grown. Maybe I'll move to Boiling Springs, man. Let's go. I'll come work for you at Plankowner. But yeah, I mean, Tennessee, Texas, and South Carolina. Those are my three places. And I just loved when I left South Carolina, they dragged me out of there scratching and clawing. And I did not want to leave. I wanted to stay in Charleston so bad. But apparently they needed me up here in Groton to drive weapons around the base, torpedoes. So I came up here. I did what they're called orders for a reason, right? So I came up here begrudgingly, and I've been here ever since. So I've had chances to leave, and they wouldn't let me.
You need to think about your buddy Eric there and where he went. So just that's Connecticut.
So yeah, and I know I am a plank owner. So I was a plank owner on the New Hampshire.
Very nice.
So that's kind of cool. So yes, that was actually my first submarine was decommissioned, and my last submarine I commissioned. So it was kind of backwards, but it was kind of neat anyway. So it all kind of fell into place there. So awesome. That's a cool story, man. I love that how you guys found that place, and now you're doing well. You're in a great spot. Like we saw right off I-85, an hour from Charlotte. So you're kind of in a good area there. Now, how far from Atlanta are you? Like 4 hours, 5 hours?
3 hours. 3 hours to Atlanta.
Not even 3 hours. Okay.
5 minutes, 3 hours.
Yeah. That's not bad. Right. But it's in a good spot, right? Because you're not like what's the area around it like? Is it like
it's growing.
Super country, or is it like very rural?
No, so Spartanburg originally Spartanburg was a big textile community, and obviously a lot of that's been offshored and everything else, but there's a lot of companies, a lot of industry here. The largest manufacturer and employer actually in all of South Carolina is here in Spartanburg County, and that's BMW. And that may be a surprise, but anybody who drives an X Series, any X Series ever made by BMW was made right here in Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Oh, wow. So now do you get a lot of them, a lot of the employees that come in there are regulars there at the Plankowner Brewing?
A lot of BMW employees and a lot of the contractors. So there's a lot of suppliers that have operations here in the area that supply parts to BMW.
That's a good way to get you guys to spread the word about you guys too. The guys come down like hey, that's a cool place. We're gonna if you're there, go to Plankowner and try some of their beer.
Yeah, and we enjoy it because we really think like we're probably one of the more international breweries here in the county, because all the hotels in the area, we get people from from Belgium, Austria, Germany, England, these companies that supply parts. So they come over here and we get teams of people from Germany and Austria that will come in, and while they're here after work, they stop in the brewery and they come in and have a few pints.
Right, that's awesome. And plus, it's cool. Like if you get the Europeans coming here, they get to try some real beer. Yeah, over to Europe, and I don't like their beer, so I like American beer. Mostly everything I like is American made, but they have their beers that are okay, but
yeah,
mostly. But I would rather have a home, a small batch brewery beer any day over any giant beer. So cool. So all right, listen, we're up against another break. When we come back, we're gonna drink we're gonna drink some of your beers. We're gonna talk about your beers. This whole next section, you guys can just brag about your awesome beers. I went through the tap list and I found like all of them really. I wanted to drink. I wanted to try. And thanks to RJ, I only get to try one today. So
yeah. So RJ was supposed to deliver more than one.
I know. So we'll talk about it when we come back. We'll be right back.
Scott will be back in just a couple minutes after he chugs this one down.
Hey, do you hear that? That's the sound of people getting together and having a good time. These are some of the sounds that you're going to hear when you visit Epicure Brewing on Franklin Street in Norwich. Epicure is a craft brewery that wants you to experience friends, a lot of laughter, and of course, Epicure's craft beers on tap. Bring your friends or come down and make some new ones while enjoying the freshest quality beer in the area. Epicure Brewing is located at 40 Franklin Street, Norwich, right in the heart of the historic district of Norwich. Check out Epicure Brewing on the web at epicurebrewing.com, as well as finding them on Facebook. So come on down and add your voice to the sounds you hear in the background right now. Follow the hashtag Epicure Brewing for life.
Unify is a local full-service marketing and branding agency that helps your business strategize, develop, and implement a marketing plan using the best platforms and materials to connect you with the right customers quickly. Find them on Facebook at Unify CT or on Instagram at Unify_CT, or call Laura directly at 860-326-6003. Strategize, develop, and connect. That's Unify.
During the break, Scott was contemplating his life choices. I've done nothing with my life. Now back to Scott Fryer and Just a Guy with a Beer.
Welcome back to Just a Guy with a Beer. Helps if I take it off mute. And this is episode number 27. And I am talking to Ryan and Shawn.
Kyle.
I'm sorry. Why did I say Ryan? Kyle and Shawn from Plankowner Brewing in Boiling Springs, South Carolina. I've been looking forward to having you guys on. RJ's blowing up my phone right now, guys. We kind of hooked in there at the end, and now we're bringing it back in. So I can't answer the phone right now. Right now, Kyle, you have RJ. Why do I keep saying different names? Can't answer the phone right now, RJ. I don't have the Bluetooth hooked up, but you can comment on the side if you want to have anything to say. Now, right before we had to cut quick on the break, we talked about the beers that I have, the beer that I have. Singular. I have two of the same beer. And we say that RJ was supposed to give me a couple other ones. Is that what you're telling me?
He was.
I see. We'll have to discuss that with that young man. Usually we meet up for a beer. Lately, we've actually been meeting up like once a week for a beer. So let's get into the one we're drinking. I'm going to drink right now. Are you guys drinking the same one?
I am.
Okay. So right now, we are going to drink. Wait, I got it written down. It's John Paul Jones Colonial Ale, right? This is an American amber ale, right? Let me show the.
It's as old as it gets.
American amber ale. It's like the OG of American beers. Okay, it's 6%, so it's easy drinking. And first of all, I love your can art. Oh, so here this. Can you guys see the comment section? RJ, I just realized I forgot to bring you the bottled beer. So listen, he's good. We tease him, but I'm sure that is the case, and he'll make it good, man. He'll make it right, and I'll drink it. And
RJ was awesome.
Again.
Glad he was able to bring this stuff up to you, Scott.
Yeah, and I'm glad that he was able to come see you, because as soon as I found out that he was, I think RJ, you were staying in, I think he was staying in Greenville, doing something for work in Greenville. And I said, dude, I looked immediately when I knew he was down that area. I looked up your address and I saw how far away it was. I'm like, dude, you got to get out to Plankowner and go see Shawn. Yeah, sure, I'll do it, man. Of course, because RJ is a pretty knowledgeable beer guy, and heck yeah, he did it, man. It was awesome. So I'm glad that he had an opportunity. He brought me back this awesome hat, which I've been wearing every single day since I've gotten it. So thank you guys for that. Your merch is very cool. I also have a T-shirt, but it's a little cool here in January in New England to be wearing just a T-shirt. So thank you guys for all that. And now I'm about to try your beer for the first time. So I promise I will not spit it all over my computer if I don't like it. But I doubt that's going to be the case. I kid. I never met a beer that I did not like. So actually, one time Trillium. You guys know Trillium down there?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, so Trillium actually made the first beer that I ever spit out of my mouth that I didn't want to swallow it was from Trillium.
Sacrilege to say on the internet bad things about Trillium. You're going to
listen. I've had so many great beers from them. That's why I was shocked when it was a Trillium beer, but I did not. I did not like it at all. It was terrible. And listen, I'm not going to just give someone credit for making good beer just because 99 out of 100 beers they make are fantastic. If they make a bad one, I'm going to tell them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I said, look, it was a weird. It was a permutation series, and it just was not good. So this is John Paul Jones, American Amber, from Plankowner down in South Carolina. Guys, thank you. Cheers. And I'm looking forward to this first sip. Perfect. You guys nailed it, man. That's good.
Thank you.
That's super easy drinking, and like you get that caramel right off the bat. So this is I like it. It's almost like a Sam Adams, but a little bit more flavorful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like a Boston lager, like one of those. I don't know. I quit drinking Sam Adams like 20 years ago because I would rather drink something local and fresher. You know what I mean? So, but this is like kind of along those lines, like something that if I went to a pub in Boston, I would find just this. So this is fantastic. Very, very well done, guys.
So let me give you a little background on this, right? So this was a little bit of a pet project. So back actually when I was homebrewing, doing a little research on colonial styles, historic styles of early American beer. Obviously, amber was very popular, but grains were different. They were malted very different. Brewing styles were different. Yeast, fermentation, all of that has changed over the last couple of hundred years. So taking this, recipe and then tweaking it, for the newer brewing system, for, modern grains, how they're kilned, how they're malted. We've come to this recipe. It's 5 different malts in this, and kind of back to the original story, kind of a little funny backstory here is, he's laughing already. Seriously, like half the recipes we have, his, mine, we talk about the teamwork, right? And it is nothing but teamwork here. But this is one of the things that, I brought, forward, and I'm like, listen, I want to make this beer. And he's looked at it and he's like, listen, specialty grains are too high. It doesn't follow guidelines. It's, kind of outside of style guidelines. I'm like, you know what? We're making this beer. We're going to do it. He's like, listen, we're too many specialty grains. It's just going to be.
It's going to be complicated. It's going to be. You're not going to get any of the flavors you're looking for. It's too much of this. Too much of this. It's,
right.
Beer is keep it simple, stupid, right? And this recipe is the opposite of that. And I was very skeptical about making this beer. And it turned out
it's really good, guys. It's really good. I'm enjoying it. I'm glad I have 2.
It's now our flagship. It's the number 1 selling beer we do.
Really? Now, Jeff Cassidy, does that ring a bell? Jeff Cassidy says.
Jeff Cassidy.
John Paul Jones is the winner, period. So I was going to ask you. So thank you for bringing that up, Shawn. The flagship beer. What is your flagship beer?
Well, flagship is John Paul Jones.
It is your flagship beer.
It is our flagship, and
Fantastic.
Day one. It
Excellent.
killed it in distribution. The bars, restaurants that have it on tap love it. A lot of repeat customers. And it's crazy that when you say like our amber ale is our flagship, because people underrate amber ale. When you take the trends out of the mix, right? Everybody loves a good IPA, especially New England right now. Like New England's are doing great.
Right.
Everybody loves a sour. Sours are just surging.
Right.
You kind of like take those to the side. Right there's an amber ale. It's the top selling beers.
It's fantastic. Like I can see this would be perfect with like a good grilled burger or a nice grilled steak. This would be actually absolutely perfect with something like that. And I was going to ask you too. You're all over it, man. You're like you're answering. You're seeing my questions before I ask them. I was going to ask you about if you guys distribute local. Do you guys have bars and restaurants in the area that also sell your beer? So that's good. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're all over South Carolina right now. So we've got distribution everywhere from Fort Mill, Rock Hill, Myrtle Beach, Charleston, Hilton Head, Columbia, Clemson, Greenville, you name it. So
nice.
Our distributors got us all over the state at the moment.
So now I'm not I'm not hip to the South Carolina beer scene, craft beer scene, but I mean I can imagine it, just having this beer and nothing else to compare it to from you guys. Thanks, RJ. Is you guys are really putting South Carolina beer on the map, and that's awesome. I think this is really good. So if I walked into a bar and I saw your guys' tap handle, I would immediately ask if that was John Paul Jones. So this is really good. So I'm glad that RJ did actually bring me this one because this is excellent. So now I'm looking forward to trying some other ones. Now you mentioned it earlier, the Blackbeard Black IPA.
Yeah,
yes. No, you mentioned the Under the Black Flag when we were talking earlier.
Correct.
But I've recently converted over to dark beers. Like I was always a New England IPA and those hazies, which I still enjoy. Like I was drinking one when Shawn and I were talking before we came on air. We were testing this out. I was drinking a hazy, but I have recently converted over to the darker beers. Like I like the black IPA. I love a black IPA. It's probably my favorite beer right now.
Very nice. Yeah, we've got one on. We're finishing up right now. I think we're down to the last keg of it.
Yeah, last keg.
It's Blackbeard. It's a black IPA. And it's crazy because the people who love it absolutely love that beer.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like a style forgotten or a style too far for some people.
Right.
And we have the beer in distribution, and the reviews are great on it. People love it. In the tap room, when people are like, oh, what IPAs do you have? Well, we have this, this, and this, and we have Blackbeard. They're like, black IPA. What's that? And you describe it.
Gotta have it. You gotta go for it. It's so good. I mean,
yeah, I don't know.
No, that was me. I'm not ashamed to admit 6 months ago, that was me. And, my friends at These Guys Brewing, they came on the show. Becca came on and she brought a black IPA and it was fantastic. And then I went to Epicure and they had a black IPA, but they had their black IPA with coffee, which was even amazing. It was amazing. Nice. And now, so every time I see it, I had only had one before that from Red Hook. It was called Black Hook, and I liked it, but you never find those black IPAs around. So I'm hoping I may road trip down there. Let's go. I'm going to come down. I want to try this black beer. Whatever you got coming out new too. So.
And all black IPAs are a little different, right? Every brewery's got a little different style on it. I was recently at a different brewery, and they had a black IPA on. I'm like, oh, not everybody has one of those. Let me try that. So I got part of my flight.
Right.
And it was more like a hoppy stout, and that was their take on it. They wanted that roasty. You could get like the roasted barley flavor coming through, but it was hoppy. And
right.
Okay, well, it's very different than ours. We've got a black IPA that's more on the IPA side.
Just a Guy with a Beer with Scott Fryer. We'll be back in 2 and 2.
Sorry for the interruption, guys. We'll be right back.
He needs a break to get rid of the gas. More of Just a Guy with a Beer coming up. If you're in the market for a used vehicle at a great price, head over to GNS Auto Sales in Franklin, Connecticut and take a look at their great selection. BMW, Audi, Dodge, Chevy, Ford, and so much more. And whether it's an oil change, brake repair, or the check engine light, let Pat, Wendy, and their team of professionals take care of all your automotive needs. That's GNS Auto Sales located in Franklin, Connecticut. Give them a call at 860-383-0050 or find them on the web at www.gnsautosales.llc.com.
Mr. Beardo, beard oils and tattoo juice are the highest quality, no BS oils on the market. All hand and homemade to meet the specific needs of everyone's beard and ink. Just a guy with a beard personally uses both of these products. I can tell you that my ink has never looked better and my beard is fuller, thicker, and healthier than ever. Get your beard pumping and your tattoo popping with Mr. Beardo, beard oils and tattoo juice. Find them on the web at www.mrbeardo.com.
Ideal Skate Shop on 175 Central Avenue in Norwich, Connecticut is more than just your average skate shop. They offer an amazing selection of one-of-a-kind, hard-to-find vans you won't find anywhere else. Into disc golf? Well, come on in and check out their amazing stock of top-line discs. And in addition to custom skate decks, accessories, and parts, they carry local handmade merchandise from small businesses. That's the Ideal Skate Shop, 175 Central Avenue, Norwich, Connecticut. Give them a call at 860-334-5277 or on Facebook and Instagram at Ideal Skate Shop, Norwich.
Killfoot Clothing is the first 100% veteran sales team owned by two local Connecticut combat wounded veterans. Every garment is designed, printed, sold, handled, and shipped only by veterans. We source our products 100% made in the USA and believe if you have a flag on your shirt, that shirt should be made in the United States, period. Killfoot Clothing Company, American made, American proud. Have you got a taste for exquisitely crafted beer and pub grub with a foodie flair? Then These Guys Brewing Company on Franklin Street in Norwich, Connecticut has got what you're craving. Enjoy a variety of classic and unique craft beers brewed on site and indulge in a delicious meal with seasonal dishes from their scratch kitchen. And check them out on Facebook or online at theseguysbrewing.com to stay up to date with their freshest brews, current menu, and upcoming events. These Guys Brewing Company, where it's all about good times, great food, and fantastic craft beer.
During the break, Scott was contemplating his life choices. I've done nothing with my life. Now back to Scott Fryer and Just a Guy with a Beer.
All right, guys, welcome back to Just a Guy with a Beer, episode number 27. I'm sorry we had to cut you off there, Shawn, at the last second there. It's hard for you guys to see how much time is left. So I was trying to signal you like nonchalantly, but you were talking about the black IPAs and the market for black IPAs. And I see we have another guest. That's my man Seth back again. So good to see you, brother. As always, I love that you're repping the 7.
He stayed just for you, so
No, I appreciate that. So I'm glad to see that you're there and supporting. So, listen, you guys have. I looked at your tap lists and I thought, hey, I'll probably find like 3 or 4 beers there that I would drink. But I honestly went through the whole list and I'm like, I would drink that one. I want to drink that one. I want to drink that one. Specifically, I'm gonna list them now for you. You guys can talk about them.
sure, bring it.
King Neptune's Imperial IPA. That sounded amazing.
We actually drinking that now.
Yeah,
I'm
so,
drinking that now. I'm still drinking the John Paul Jones. Thanks, RJ.
King Neptune is my favorite beer on tap. It's our double IPA. Comes in right about 9%. Cascade and Centennial. It's got a little Chinook in the dry hop. It's great beer. It's not as hoppy and as upfront and as aggressive as a lot of double IPAs.
Right.
And also it drinks like it's about 5%.
Yeah.
That sounds great. That sounds like an awesome. And I noticed that right away. I said, well, that's one I would put at the top of my list.
Yeah, King Neptune is a great seller, and honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that it was a double that at 9%, we'd probably sell a lot more of it. So, people ask us all the time, like, what style do you guys specialize in? We're like, what do you mean? Like, what style of beer do you make? Like, we're like, good beer? Listen, I get it. Like, a lot of breweries, they may specialize in, like, sours or German styles, or they want to do just IPAs, right? There's, brewery back in South Florida that specializes in IPAs. And, You go in there, they got 10 beers on tap, and there's like 9 IPAs and a very, very hoppy 10th. We cover the gamut. So we're almost 2 years old. We make 37 beers. At any given time, we have 16 to 18 beers on tap that we've made, and that covers everything from a blonde ale, a Kolsch, to stouts, porters, IPAs, sours.
I even saw a wit beer on there too, Shawn.
We've got a great wit beer on right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, eventually, I'm going to get around to trying the Mermaid Tears. RJ is going to make good on it. So that sounds like a fantastic beer because I like the New England style IPAs. Obviously, it's all the rage here. There you go. That looks nice and hazy and dank. That looks good. I'm probably going to enjoy that.
We'll talk about that, right? So,
yeah.
This is a New England that we released 5 months ago now. Yeah. So we talked about John Paul Jones a second ago, and that's our flagship. It's our number one seller, has been. But honestly, one of the hottest sellers that we've had in the last 2 to almost 3 months now has been Mermaid Tears. It's just a great New England IPA that is a little different. It's one of the lowest IBU. So for anybody who follows like the bitterness scale of beers, it's only an 8.
Right.
So it's very low in bitterness, but there's tremendous amount of juiciness, flavor, aroma that comes through from the hops that are in there. And when you smell it, you get the hop aroma, you taste it, and you're just waiting for that wave to come crashing down. Like, here comes the bitterness, here comes that bitter bite. Right. And it just doesn't happen. It's just refreshing, and it's light. And we, here in South Carolina, we sell a ton of it. So.
And it sounds like it's amazing. I mean, especially what's coming in at just 8%, so it's just still good where it's not boozy, and like it's not like a double. So
Mermaid Tears is 6.2.
Yeah, 6.2.
Which one did you say was 8? Was that the King Neptune?
Oh, that's Blackbeard.
Yeah.
Blackbeard's 8.3. Yeah.
Oh, so you're 6.2 on the Mermaid Tears. Okay, that's even better.
Yeah,
that's something you could drink and enjoy and not have to worry about. Oh my God, am I overdoing this?
Right.
Some of those Imperials and even some of the New England IPAs, especially if it's a double, they can sneak up on you.
Eventually, we'll have a double New England, but for right now, Mermaid Tears is our style. Yeah.
Talk to me about Siren's Call, because you had mentioned sours, which is popular, which I had just gotten into over the last probably last year. I just started drinking sours, which I really enjoy. Talk to me about Siren's Call. Like, what? It's a blackberry sour. Now, is it a kettle sour or is it more like a Berliner?
So it's a kettle sour.
It's a Berliner.
It's a Berliner Weiss, but we do it in the kettle.
Okay.
Opening up, Shawn didn't want to have anything to do with sours. But we got request after request from our customers. When are you going to do a sour? When are you going to do a sour? When are you going to do a sour? So we finally decided we're going to do a sour. We're going to do a kettle sour, so we don't have to worry about infecting fermenters and equipment and that kind of stuff.
Right.
And we've done 3 different variations of Siren's Call now. We did a passion fruit, a peach, and now a blackberry. And they've all just come out really awesome. They're not, it's on the Berliner Weiss side, so not super, super bitter or tart.
Right.
Just kind of a refreshing, sour flavor. And we keep trying to mix it up with it's kind of a rotating seasonal fruit, whatever we feel like. So it's
blackberry sounds good. No, blackberry sounds excellent.
Yeah.
So now we talked about a little bit again the Under the Black Flag. That is the one that I really, 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 really want to try. That.
Yeah.
So Imperial Double.
We've done some porters. We keep a porter on year round. Typically 2 of them. Like, we'll have a porter. That's our Busted Rudder, and then we'll do a variation of it. So the very first one we did was actually the very first one was Nutty Busted Rudder. Right? Yeah, so Nutty Busted Rudder. That was a peanut butter and chocolate variation of our porter.
Right.
And then we did a bourbon Busted Rudder, and then we had we did a fall one. We did a pumpkin version with allspice and a bunch of other seasoning for the fall in there. So we've done different porters, but it's the same Busted Rudder base. So we decided, all right, we need to put a stout on, and we did a big Imperial stout. And we decided, so Plankowner Brewing, I know the video is just showing the tap wall, but like, we've got this whole nautical coastal decor and theme going on here in the tap room. And all of our beers have, nautical naming theme to them. There's a couple with some naval heritage in there. Frigate ales or Kolsch. But that said, we decided, we want all of our stouts, our big stouts, to have a pirate theme to them. So we decided the first one we were going to do was Under the Black Flag. That's big imperial stout with lots of coffee, lots of chocolate, lots of dark brown sugar. So we brewed the first batch of that in December of 2018, released it in January 2019. But we immediately barrel aged a bunch of it. Now we did some in a dark rum barrel from Ecuador. It's an Ecuadorian dark rum. And then some of it was in a Buffalo Trace bourbon barrel. And we let them age for 9 months. And then we did a special release bottle. You want to grab 2 bottles out of that? Cool. We'll leave through the labels. Even if RJ hasn't dropped off the bottles to you, try. But we can at least show you.
I will when I do finally get them. I will display them.
Yes. So the first one Kyle's going to show you here is bourbon barrel. So big pirate theme. Local artist did a great job with the labels. Very pencil sketch. A lot of pirate ships coming out. And then the other one is the rum barrel version. So the rum barrel version here, you've got the skeleton pirate with the Calico Jack in the background.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
That's
well done.
And it was a really fun project because the barrels brought 2 completely different aspects from a flavor profile out of the beer, right? So we talked about the beer, a lot of coffee, a lot of chocolate, a lot of dark brown sugars, big, bold, stout flavors. Not big, heavy body, just nice, drinkable stout. Imperial. Now, that said, it's an 11.5% Imperial stout, so it's a big beer. The barrels age, they come out about 12% afterwards. The rum barrel tends to be a little sweeter. It kind of smooths the edges off all of the beer, but it just brings a lot of the profile flavors out. The bourbon brought the chocolate more out in the beer. So they 2 different profiles. So yeah, it was fun though. We did another version of it. We've got some more aging again for the next release. So.
That sounds amazing. Listen, if it's anything like the John Paul Jones, I cannot wait to get my hands on that. RJ, I need to have that tomorrow, by the way. I know he's listening. I know he's watching. So I need that tomorrow, bro. So guys, listen, I really, we're almost out of time here. You only got a few minutes left. I really want to thank you guys for taking the time out on your day off and coming in and talking to me about your beer. And finally, we're meeting sort of face to face. We've been talking for a few years now, and we finally got around to doing this. So I appreciate it greatly. I'd like to have you guys come back on maybe in the summer, and maybe we'll do a road trip, man. Maybe I'll come down and see you guys. But thanks again, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you to all my sponsors. They're scrolling across the bottom of the screen there. I do not have a show next week. Next week is my beautiful daughter's birthday. She's turning 14, so I'm going to take that day off and spend time with her. I'll be back on the 25th of this month with a very special guest. If you're a local guy, a local person, and you like lacrosse, if you're a fan of the New England Black Wolves, you're really going to want to tune into that show. I got the man, the myth, the legend, the thriller, Bill O'Brien coming in that night for that show. And guys, before we get out of here, let's talk real quick. Kyle, I know you're a Florida State guy.
That's true.
Who you got tonight?
What's that?
Who you got tonight? Who's winning tonight?
Oh, Alabama for sure. I mean,
yeah. Shawn, you want to chime in on that?
Well, anybody but Alabama, just because everybody wants to root for Alabama.
I'm not a
Clemson's not, so
Seth.
I'm a huge Michigan fan, so I feel like a lot of people are going to hate me for saying this, but I hate Alabama, so I'm going to say OHIO.
No.
Okay, I have to clarify. I'm not rooting for Alabama, but they are going to win.
Okay, I cannot do this. I am a Penn State fan, and I cannot ever bring myself to root for Ohio State University. I will not root for them, even if it means Alabama winning another national championship. I will be rooting for the Alabama Crimson Tide to win tonight, and that's gonna. I hope it's a good game. Hope it's not a blowout, because the last few football games I watched have all been blowouts. So, guys, thanks again. I'd like to have you on because I have some more questions, and we're not going to be able to get to them tonight. So I really would like you to come back on. So thanks for joining me tonight. Cheers. I appreciate it. We'll have you back on. And everybody who's watching, thank you so much for tuning in and spending an hour with us on your Monday night before the national championship game. I hope you enjoy it. I hope it's a good game like we talked about. Roll Tide. And listen, guys, there's a lot of you out there who might be struggling and you might need someone to talk to. You know, you can always come talk to me. You have my number. If you don't, I'll give it to you. It's 860-941-7811. If you need someone to talk to, please pick up the phone. Don't do anything crazy. Call me. Talk to me. Or if you're not, you call the suicide hotline at 800-273-8255 and just talk to somebody and get whatever it is that you're feeling, and you can get rid of it. We can make it better, man. We would rather be talking to you in the middle of the night than finding out the next day that you passed on. So,
and if you're in South Carolina, come see one of us. Come
yeah,
talk to
please do call somebody, because somebody always cares.
Absolutely.
So, thanks, guys. Again, appreciate you. I love you guys. Thanks for watching. And remember, guys, don't beer shade me friends. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
All right. Cheers.
You've been listening to Just a Guy with a Beer with Scott Fryer. Check out Scott Fryer next time over most of these same radio stations for conversation, information, intelligence, and lots more beer. See you next time on Just a Guy with a Beer with Scott Fryer.
Okay, bye. Stop making noise.
It's time.